All right, all right. I think we're live. Yes, indeed, we are. Let me just check. Always got to double check the YouTube channel. Log into these comments. Make sure you guys are here with me. Make sure that you guys are hearing me loud and clear. Yep, looks good. Looks good. Okay, well, come in and say hello. Welcome. Welcome to the stream today. I got something real special for you. Yeah, really excited about today's stream. I've spent the morning kind of setting it up properly. And yeah, hope you guys are doing great. So yeah, come in, say hi. Say hello, let me know what's going on. Let me know how the hell you guys are doing out there. And yeah, I got a bit to go over today. Let me tell you exactly what's going to go down on this live stream today. February's challenge for the members of the Production Music Academy was the following. Oh, actually, you know what I should do before anything is I should post up the Academy link in the comments here. Can I do that? And I'll pin it. Did I spell that right? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we got a bit to go over. So the February challenge and every month there's a challenge in the Academy for those of you who aren't in it. February's challenge was to create a composition. These were the guidelines that I set out. Create a composition in any genre or style. Keep it under 2 minutes and 30 seconds, give or take. That wasn't really that important. Only stock sounds from your DAW, synths, drum kits, etc., whatever. No pre-recorded loops, so none of those Apple loops. No third-party plugins, of course. Only stock plugins from your DAW is allowed. No mastering plugins, of course, except for whatever stock ones you have, limiter, etc. So this is a difficult challenge because it somewhat came down to an advantage depending on what DAW you had. And Logic users are kind of had a step up in this because it comes with so many stock sounds and stuff. I think Ableton has a pretty big arsenal of stock plugins and sounds too. So it was a challenge for some of the members because not all of them had Logic. Some of them are using Reaper, which has like very limited stock sounds. Some of the members use Pro Tools, which is also a little bit more limited. So the deal was if you didn't have any stock sounds whatsoever or like extremely limited, it was okay to use Labs instruments from Spitfire, Labs, BBC Orchestra, Discover, etc. But pretty much everyone just relied on the stock stuff, and it was just such an interesting exercise. I think I have about 9 or 10 submissions, and including my own. And yeah, what I'm going to do is basically showcase everyone's submission. We're going to talk about it. Everyone wrote me a little something about like what they learned, and pretty much everyone, it kind of ended what people got from the exercise was just kind of like some people fell in love, back in love with some of the stock plugins for one thing, which in the case of Logic and Ableton are really, really good. I know that. Yeah, other folks, realize that that some of the sounds that they have as part of Logic are great too. And at one point I think I scored like one of the first scoring projects I ever had was using nothing but Logic's stock stuff, and it was okay. I think it just with the advent of sample libraries just becoming so insanely good over the last however, 5-6 years, it's like we've just so easily forgotten about some of the stock stuff. So Adam Patterson is here. Welcome, man. Spider reception, so I might come in. Okay. Yeah, my wireless router has been a little bit wonky today, so I'm plugged in Ethernet style. So, okay, we got 10 people in here. Come say hi. How you guys doing? Okay, a few things, a few little housekeeping things before I start. Let me just change views here. Give me 1 second, please. Okay, so one thing that I never actually got around to making a proper announcement about this, and I wanted to on this live stream, but I just wanted to thank those of you who bought this MIDI pack, and this Pop Strings MIDI pack around Christmas time. I held a little special on it around that time, and all the proceeds were donated to charity. I matched the revenue from the sales of that pack, and then I threw in a little extra too. And altogether, it was a couple $100. I donated it to St. James Music Academy here in Vancouver. It's a really, really special charity. They offer free music instruction for underprivileged kids here in Vancouver for like after-school programs. And they do such an amazing job. They've been doing it for a long time, and they are great people. They're running a great organization, and I'm really proud to help them out in any way I can. So just want to say thank you to those who did buy this pack, because the donation was made, and I never got around to saying thank you. And I hope that you are enjoying the MIDI pack. What else is new? Big shout out to Strix Instruments. These guys are sample library developers from Ukraine. So go check them out at strixinstruments.com. They got a bunch of stuff on discount right now, and it's all proceeds are going to the Ukrainian army. I don't know. Can you believe this crazy world that we live in, guys? I don't even know what to make of it anymore. It's been a dark week. That's for sure. And I have members in the Discord channel and in the academy that are from Ukraine, and I'm sending out a prayer for you all, and I hope that I sincerely hope that you're safe and that your families are safe, and God bless you guys. And I can't even imagine what you're all going through. To be honest, I had a tough time getting work done this last week. Just, every time I open up the news app, I was kind of bombarded with, these images and videos, just reminding me of how awful we are to one another sometimes. And it's horrible to see it. I was looking for a way to keep things like light and keep my spirits up. So on a lighter note, this week I launched the dramedy course for the Production Music Academy. Every month there's a new course for the academy, and for March it is on the subject of dramedy. And I've been writing a bunch of these tracks and just having a ton of fun with it. It's super. The course is just super lighthearted and easy, and it's an exploration of the wonderful and quirky world of dramedy. Members of the academy who are in the master tier, they have access to this course already. Some of them have already finished it, actually, but it is officially live on Teachable as well. If you're not interested in being part of the academy, so you can purchase it there too. It's only $20, it's just a quick and easy one, and I've kind of personally found that writing tracks in this comedic style has been sort of a nice way to kind of keep the blues away for the last week. The course comes with a MIDI pack of dramedy progressions too. So I'll just pump that up shamelessly here before we move on to all the other stuff. So, okay. What else? Back to the old DAW view. Let me just check the comments here. Oh, there's people here. Sorry, guys. James is in the house. John's in the house. Hello, hello. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining. Crystal clear. Okay, excellent. That dog looks like my neighbor. I love that pug. All right. Thanks so much for joining, guys. It's great to have you here. Wow, there is quite a delay from what I am broadcasting to what is showing up here on YouTube. Hopefully that's doesn't end up being problematic. 1 second. Well, whatever. Hopefully we're all good here. So let me talk about I'm gonna get my track, my submission for this challenge out of the way first, because let me be honest with you guys, it is by far I don't know, probably the worst of all of you guys' submissions. Everyone really blew me away on this challenge, and I realized that I gotta step up my game. But let me see. Okay, let me tell you what's going on here. Normally, sorry. Yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses. Let me just say that I was extremely limited to a very small selection of stock instruments in Logic, because, as you can see, I'm using an ancient version of Logic. That's a whole other story. But I actually opted out of installing a lot of the stock sounds. So because I didn't want to take up space on my computer, and I was like, I don't need any of those. I got all my fancy Contact libraries, and like, why the hell would I use any of these stock Logic stuff? I'm sounding like a snob over here, and maybe I've become one. I've been humbled by this challenge. I really have. So what did I learn? I learned, before I show you this song, I came to realize that the stock EQ and compressor in Logic is actually quite good. They're pretty decent. So I've kind of fell back in love with using the Logic EQ, and also I found that this what is it? Is it on this one? Maybe not. I can't even remember where I put this anymore, but there's a little saturation plugin in this old version of Logic that actually sounds quite nice and warm as well. Andy's in the stream. How's it going, man? Hey, Andy, look, I wore a different color other than black just for you today. My composing hoodie is in the wash. So I'm wearing my potato sack sweater right now. It's very comfortable. Okay. Anyway, I gotta get through this stream. So let me just tell you what my thoughts here. So I wanted to compose a corporate track using nothing but the very limited amount of stock instruments that I have in Logic, and it didn't come out sounding very good. And I think it was a struggle. I'm a little embarrassed to play it, especially. But I figured I'll start with mine first, because it's going to make everyone else's look really good. So here goes. Enjoy. Oh, and I'm not going to play the whole thing, because no one really wants to hear 2 minutes of corporate music. This is just going to be like the last half of the track. So my thoughts were that I really wanted to, for those of you who may or may not have visited productionmusictools.com, I'm trying to start a whole section of templates. And I have a few up there already. Feel free to go download them. They're all free. One of them is like a fantasy track. The other one's like an orchestral track. And they're using like all free instruments like Labs and BBC Discover and so on. And what I want to try to do throughout this year is add templates, like Logic templates, where people could just download it and they don't need to have any kind of sample libraries or plugins, third party. And they can get an idea of like how to write a track like this. And I didn't have a corporate one, so I was like, I'll write a corporate track using just Logic stuff. And it was a challenge. I think that probably the biggest challenge was like trying to dial in the like the percussive and the drum feel of it, because it's just, I don't know, these just don't sound, none of this sounds particularly good. I'm not a big fan of the Logic stock drum kits. And I had to, the piano, like the Logic pianos don't sound that half bad. And I found these like guitar plucks, which sounded decent, like they're okay. And a combination of like a few different things for like the melody, which, again, just like, it was hard to dial in. A difficult thing was getting the the cymbal swell to lock in, and what did I do for that? I used like one of the regular drum kits, and then I just like washed it in reverb, like tons of reverb, and I threw it through a bit of like sidechain compression to the kick. And yeah, I mean, it was a struggle, but it worked out. I think it's like, it's like I don't think it would pass the test for Motion Array. Actually, it would be interesting to submit it and see if they accepted it. I feel like they probably wouldn't, but you never know. You never know. Who's here? Twin Pines. What's going down? Welcome to the stream. Oh, thanks, man. How much do you think the sounds affect the part you write? It's a great question. That's a really, really great question. A lot. I mean, a lot. I'm inspired by the texture and the shape of the sound, and it probably plays a large role in like how I use it as an instrument. But it's I think that is what. That is something that I contemplated more than ever, just like with this exercise, is like the reliance on the libraries that I use. And it's just, it was, I think what most of the members pointed out is that it's just really fun to work with these kinds of limitations, because it really tests your creativity. And this one certainly did for me. So this live stream is not about me. It is about the members. So I'm going to quickly move on to showcase the members' work here, which I'm really, really excited about. You guys are going to freak out when you hear some of these compositions. They're all so good. I'm really, truly inspired by what I heard. And for anyone interested in writing corporate, this is going to end up being a template that I'm gonna put onto productionmusictools.com eventually. But you know what? I have a Mac Mini M1 in the mail right now. I should be getting it this week, and I can't tell you how excited I am to do a whole system reboot. I'm gonna have the latest version of Logic on it. And I'm gonna dive into the current state of Logic, because I'm using an ancient version here. It's pretty wild. I'm excited to have a faster computer. That's one thing that I'm really excited about. So, anywho, let's switch over here to everyone else's work. Okay, so who do we have first? Adam, Adam, you're up. Okay, so everyone wrote me a little little blurb here, and I think it would be interesting for people to know what DAW everyone used and all that kind of stuff. So I have a bit of info, bit of intel. Adam used Pro Tools, which is cool. I think you're probably the only Pro Tools user of all the submissions, and it's funny, Pro Tools is like, I used to use Pro Tools back when I was like doing more like when I was in sound engineering school. That was my go-to, and Pro Tools is awesome for editing for one. But in terms of the stock stuff, I always found it was a bit of a struggle. So Adam wrote, normally my go-to is Native Instruments 11. I have a bunch of Wave and UA plugins and basically avoid most of the instruments and plugins that came with the DAW. What I thought I knew and confirmed, Pro Tools instruments are not very good and not super easy to use. Yes, true that. The piano and synth are cool sounding, I guess. Drums are probably the most limited, especially the toms. I'll stick to my Native Instruments and my own real instruments. Also, my mastering program, Cloud Bounce, as well. I don't know about Cloud Bounce. I'll have to check that out. What Adam learned. Pro Tools has stepped up their plugin game big time. That's good to know. Tons of very cool effects, especially reverbs that have just been sitting there in plain sight this whole time. Also, a bunch of very decent compressors, EQs, and even tape saturation. That's cool. That's cool, man. What else you write? I would probably never have discovered these if it wasn't for the challenge. See, that's great. So we're rediscovering our, the stuff that we have at our disposal here with our DAWs, and that was the whole point of the challenge. So that and testing creativity. So let's listen to Adam's work here. Enjoy. Here we go. Yes. Lovely, man. No, so I have any notes for you? I'm not really doing like a full on feedback session for every track. A lot of these tracks are just like so good. I didn't even really have any notes, but the first, like the opening part of it kind of reminded me, like kind of gave me that Weekend Blinding Lights sort of vibe, like a really interesting throwback retro vibe there. I don't know. It brought me back to like early 90s like Atari like video game music. And that's I hope you take that as a huge compliment, because I love that stuff. Like it reminded me of like playing that Lotus racing game. It definitely has that vibe to it. Really, you did a really great job. Mix, arrangement and mix are solid. I feel like there was some kind of like weird phasey issue, like with like some sort of fighting. Something was sort of fighting between like maybe the synth and the hi-hats, like in this end part. like I don't know if that was like a phase issue or something, but whatever. It's awesome, man. It's great. Loved it. Thanks so much for submitting, Adam, and I'm glad you got some value out of the challenge. James says, I love that game. Awesome. You know that game? Wait, how old are you, man? I didn't think anyone would catch that reference. I think they've rebooted Lotus. But like I was playing Lotus back in 1990, I think 91 or 92, on the original Atari computer system. I don't know if anyone had an Atari, but I put a phase on trying to be okay. Cool. I see. Okay, right. Lotus Turbo Challenge 2 Amiga. Oh man, killer. That's awesome, man. That you know the game. Yeah, that would have fit right in with the Lotus soundtrack, I'm pretty sure. Okay, we have Alexandra Pandya's track next. Let me see. I got some notes to share on this. Oh, I put these out of order. Sorry, my notes are all out of order. So I'm just going to follow my notes here instead, because that'll be easier rather than me searching through it. So Alexandra, we're going to skip your track. I'm going to come back to it. I promise. But we're going to move down to Mark. Mark, you're up. Okay. Mark had a few thoughts he wanted to share here. So he went back and forth on a few different ideas, including recording real guitar and bass, but ended up creating this 100% with Logic Pro instruments and plugins. Not sure what genre it is exactly, but definitely had the 80s synth-driven music in mind. Why is everyone writing 80s throwback music here? Is that what happens when we lose access to our libraries? Everything just becomes 80s. I abuse Logic's vintage EQs, the compressor distortions, and use the trick of adding tape delay to the master bus and turning off the delay repetitions to be left only with the tape emulation sound. Cool. Okay, let's give it a shot. Here we go. Nice. That's fantastic, Mark. I love it. So another kind of like throwback, another kind of 80s vibe track. Mark asked for a bit of feedback. I wrote a few notes here that I wrote this morning when I was listening to it. I love that fat bass line. What is the patch you used for that boom boom? That's a really cool sound. It kind of sounds like something you'd hear out of like a mini Moog synth. That's kind of my favorite part of the track, is just that sweet slinky bass line. it kind of carries the whole track for me. And the arrangement and the ideas are really nice. I'm just like, I think I'll probably say this a few times during this live stream, is like, I'm just not a huge fan of how those stock Logic drum kits sound. And it's hard to put my finger on it exactly why. Like, I think for a track like in this style, I think like a really tight sounding kit would, like a really dry and tight one would have done the trick for me. And the kits in Logic sort of have like come default with this like kind of big room sound. I think you could probably dial around that, but like they're probably already like pre sent into the like the stock Logic reverbs, which aren't great. Anyway, it kind of gave like the big snare, like, like kind of gave it a bit of an 80s vibe, so that's okay. I was sort of thrown off by like the panning of the little melody, like the keys melody on the top. It almost seemed like, I don't know what do you have like an auto pan on that or something, like, or like, because it sort of bounced around from left to right, and sometimes it almost seemed at random, and which felt like a bit disorienting to listen to. But yeah, I don't know. That was the only thing that really kind of was like made me maybe sort of wonder what was going on. But like it wasn't drastic. But I was just curious about that. It threw me off when I first listened to it. And then, yeah, I think you sort of like, I don't know, the other little thing that if I was giving you like, proper feedback, I might point out like ending on the major. I think you ended on a major 7th chord here, didn't you? I probably would have just ended on a straight major, but that's just me. Something with a little bit more finality, but I don't know. That's not being fair. I'm just picking on you now. That was great, man. No auto panning. It was intentional, but doesn't seem to have worked. Well, I know it worked. I mean, I noticed it. It's cool. It's cool. I always kind of like if there's like a top line melody, I usually like to hear it center. That's just me. It's just my preference. I just like to center it and have the listener focus on it. Not to say that and you hear me harp on about using the stereo field and that you were being creative with that. So like, good for you. Usually if it's like a top line, I'll center it and that'll be like it'll be a point of focus. But that's not to say that you can't take other like more, ambient and textural stuff and auto pan that. I auto pan stuff all the time in my tracks. But listening back to that would have been like my main feedback, is like I wasn't really sure where to focus on the top line. But yeah, man, that was awesome. Thanks so much. Who is next? Mr. Alex B, the legend himself, is up next. Alex was the winner of January's scoring competition. So let's see. Expectations are high. Where are you at? There you are. Okay, let's listen to Alex's track. Here we go. Thanks, Alex. That was rad. I forgot to mention that Alex mentioned a few important notes that I was going to share with you guys. He installed the whole Logic library. It's around 60 gigs of VSTs, loops, and MIDI phrases and chord progressions. It's gold. You can relocate it to your external drive if you have storage issues. That's what I'm going to do. I suggest you talking to me here. I suggest you download it and check it out. It's a real-time saver when you need to deliver something in respectable quality and fast, and the stock plugins are a real plus. I personally love the vintage EQs. They modeled it after an API, a Neve, and a Pultec, and they just sound great, at least to me, especially for the price. And the distortion knob in Logic's compressor is another gem too. I totally agree. I actually forgot to mention that the distortion knob in the compressors in Logic is pretty handy. It's pretty handy, and I use that a bit in my corporate track. Alex, that was a great mix. All the ideas were fantastic. It's super licensable. I think I wrote a few other notes here. Yeah, like I don't know. It's just so great to listen to this. Like, as I've been listening to the stuff you've been posted in the Discord like almost a year ago, and I just continue to hear you develop as a producer over the last year. It's really impressive, man. And yeah, the ideas in this track are gold. Perfect sync material. I'm not again, I think it comes down to those Logic kits. Like, I'm not a huge fan of how they sound. But yeah, I'm curious about what's on your master. Something felt like a bit hollowed out in the mix, like almost like kind of, I don't know, not mono, but almost kind of mono. So I'd be curious if like maybe you were using one of those. Sometimes if you use those stereo imaging like plugins on the master, it can mess it up a bit. I'm not saying that happened to you, but I felt like there was some kind of spread, image spread that was missing there. But like I could still hear all the ideas like beautifully, and the track is amazing. I love all the stops. Like, man, that is that's a hell of a track, and the stuff you've been writing lately is just killer, man. So thanks for sending that. Who's next? Mr. Steve Dukes is up. Oh, this one is great. You guys are gonna love this one. Did Steve send me some intel? Not a whole lot here. He used Logic. He says, I was really amazed at how much was there. Good samples and presets, good metering for mastering that I didn't even know was there. My biggest struggle was getting to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I just made the middle section as long as I needed and kept adding elements until I thought it worked. Okay, listening. Here we go. Damn. I'm just laughing at No Time to DAW. Touche. That was oh man, that was like, yeah, that was like Mission Impossible meets James Bond meets like Ennio Morricone. I don't know, that was so cool, man. Like yeah, Steve, fantastic job. Yeah, great use of the orchestral instruments. So do they really sound that good in the new Logic? Like they really stepped it up, because like the orchestral stuff, I have very limited stuff, like a few string libraries with the stock Logic stuff, which I used in the corporate track, by the way. But it sounds so terrible that it's so bad. But like that, those instruments sound nice. The orchestral stuff sounds really great. So they clearly stepped it up. Yeah, you really used it. You used it all beautifully in this track. Also, the juxtaposition between like the slow and the fast parts in the track made for a really interesting and fascinating arrangement overall. Awesome stuff, man. Very inspiring. Very, very inspiring. No Time to DAW. I love it. Okay, who's next? Mike Elton. Here we go. Mike, what did Mike say? So Mike used Pro. Okay, so there was another Pro Tools user. You weren't alone, Adam. Mike used Pro Tools 11, which is like 6 years out of date. And I mainly used Xband too for everything. I think some people were commenting about Xband in the comments there too. I don't know anything about it. He found that the most versatile virtual instrument that came with Pro Tools comes with Pro Tools. The only thing I did, which isn't using stock plugins, was I recorded some ambient noise from my garden using my phone and put that in the track to add some texture. Awesome. In terms of mixing, again, I just used all the tools that came with my DAW and used audio processing to create cymbal swells and tape drop and a tape drop effect. One thing about the challenge that Mike found interesting was how much I could get done when there are limitations. For example, when I have all my plugins and VSTs to choose from, I can lose a lot of time painstakingly looking for the perfect sound, but by only using one virtual instrument, I just went with what was there and made do. I think that goes to show no matter whether you use expensive third-party plugins or the ones that come free with your DAW, if you put your mind to it, you can still make music with what you have. Well said, my friend. 100% agree. So let's listen to Mike's track. Here we go. Yeah, Mike, where do you live? We need to we that garden sounds so peaceful and nice. I love how you worked in the uh, ambience into the track. That's beautiful, man. Thanks so much. And it's it's great to hear you progressing with the hip hop stuff, because I'm thinking back to like a track that I reviewed of yours like a long time ago, and you were struggling a bit with the chord progressions, and it seems like listening to that you're getting more comfortable, learning how to use those chords in the right way, and it's got vibe. It's got tons of vibe. I think if I had one little piece of feedback, it would be maybe to work some like swing into the beat. The beat sounded like a little rigid in parts, especially with like those pushed chords that you're using. But yeah, other than that, like it just had tons of vibe. You know what? A part I really liked about this track is just this little breakdown with like the upright bass in the mix here. And like that kind of bossa beat in the back. I really like that part. I don't know why, that just felt like super vibey to me. So yeah, man, great work. I think that's all I had for notes there. Okay, coming back to Alexandra's track. Where is she? There she is, right here. Okay. What is she? I think she is an Ableton user, and she wrote the whole composition is created using only one stock sound, grand piano, and stock plugins. Yeah, she used Ableton for this. She said she was inspired by the music of Ludovico Einaudi. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. He's an Italian pianist, I believe. Not sure if piano sounds natural, but I tried my best. Okay, let's give it a listen. Here we go. Wow, that's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous piece. Yeah, that was beautiful. I don't really know what else to say other than that was beautiful, Alexandra. And yeah, I really appreciate you sending it. You're the only one that sent something that was just like a solo piece like that. And it's a really nice. It stands so nicely against everything else, which is like kind of big, loud productions. So it's really nice to have your track featured here. And yeah, you know what? Like Andy said, it's great to have some female representation from the Academy. I think there's 3 ladies in the Production Music Academy, and you know what? It's like music production is, for whatever reason, it's kind of a boys' club, and I'm not saying that's good or bad, or it is kind of what it is. But it's certainly nice to have a few ladies in the academy, and it's great to feature your track, Alexandra. So thanks so much for sending that, and yeah, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, who is next? We got Dan. Dan, let's. What did Dan send me here? So, okay, Dan. Hi, Stephen. I used Studio One 5, Studio One Artist. It actually has quite a lot of stock instruments, but with some annoying limitations. For instance, none of the string libraries have controllable articulations or key switches. A positive are that the two samplers, Presence and Mojito, with these two, there's absolutely no shortage in sounds, in particular pads / synths to choose from. And the drums, there was a massive amount of drum kits, and that was new information for me. Extractable samples, including sound effects and some small loops. As for plugins, most plugins are quite good and useful, but the auto filter plugin I had never used before and positively surprised me. And the same goes for the stock tremolo plugin Xtrem. We have some other Studio 5 users in the house, I believe, right? James, are you using Studio 5? Or Studio One, sorry. The lack of guitar amps, there's only one, did finally force me to explore how to get a better guitar sound rather than blaming the plugins or the guitar. Not thrilled with how it came out, but it's much better than I expected when I started with it. Awesome, mission accomplished. So you discovered something new with the challenge. That's great. Let's listen to this track. Here we go. Awesome. Dude, it's so catchy. I love it. So we're going, was it fair to say that's like kind of a 70s vibe to it? Kind of like 70s meets like early 2000s, like indie in a weird way. There's a band that track really reminded me of, but I can't think of what it is. Someone help me out. Man, that was killer, Dan. And I think what a highlight of that track was for me is those disco strings. Those sounded super funky and catchy, man. So that's stock Studio One, eh? Like that sounds pretty good. Pretty good. James is asking, is that the stock bass from Presence XT? Holy balls, that's good. I don't think Dan's in the house. If he is, then please, please respond. We'd love to know more. Alex is here. Right on. Did you miss your track being featured, man? You probably just got here. Um, yeah, Jamiroquai. Yeah, that totally, absolutely. That had Jamiroquai vibes. Um, uh, oh, Dan, is that you? DVD music is okay. Dan's in the house. Assuming that is you, then we have a question for you. Is that the bass? Is the, is the bass from Presence XTs that James was asking? Killer track, dude. Killer track. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Alex, man, everyone loved your track. Everyone loved it. But you can watch the replay. So let's move on. Who do we got next? We got Robert. Oh yeah, this one's really cool. Check this one out. Robert sent along a few notes as well. Not really sure this is a library/commercial track, but all done in Ableton Live, including all the samples and sounds are from the DAW. No splice this time. So I think that's all I wrote. Let's check it out. Damn, I really like that. That was a fantastic mix. Oops. It sort of reminded me of like some of the kind of like the tracks that I was exploring, or like the vibe I was exploring for the corporate technology course. Not to say that that sounded corporate-y. It sounded like kind of like IDM electronica kind of vibes, but like really solid mix. Rob, I'm not sure if Robert is in the stream, but if you watch this, if you're watching this later, dude, killer track. So clearly Ableton is like, you know, has got the goods for, like, I kind of know that. I have Ableton on my computer. I never open it up. I never use it that much, but I know that some of the stock stuff is pretty amazing. I have a friend in Ontario who writes insane electronic music, and he only uses like Ableton stock. Like he's never got any third-party stuff at all. Yeah, anyway, so Ableton users, right on. I think we have, was it one or two more? I think Nathan is next. Yeah, Nathan Toft. Okay, Nathan sent me a couple notes, I think. First off, this was definitely a challenge. I decided to limit myself to Labs, Contact Factory, and Reaper's cheesy stock synth. Okay, so Nathan used some lab stuff because like I don't know much about Reaper, but I think it's pretty limited. I think so. It took me some time to come to terms with the fact that I was ultimately going to come up with something that was an amalgamation of Hot Butter's Popcorn and the melody line from How It's Made, from the How It's Made TV theme. Okay, right on. Let's listen. Yeah, man, that track gave me like game music vibes too. Like I could kind of picture myself playing Tetris to that or something like that. I like it, man. I love it. I think. Oh yeah, Nathan also mentioned that he used Reaper for that, like the low fat kind of distorted bass and the kind of smooth top line melody. I like the top line melody. I like the way that sounds. It sounds cool. Yeah, everyone's track is just so impressive. Everyone's writing in just totally different styles in the Academy, which I just think is the coolest thing ever. If I had any feedback for you, Nathan, I would say maybe like, maybe hold back on like putting the reverb on the low synth so much. I'm not sure if it needed that much, but that would, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I just love it. It was super catchy. I love the melody. Fantastic. Okay, we have one more. And I saved this one for last because David went above and beyond here with his submission and sent me like, okay, well, I'll get into it, but let's listen to this first. It's great. It's a great track, and David is one of the new members in the Academy. And where did he write? He wrote a bunch of stuff. Actually, I'll save what he wrote for afterwards because he sent me something that's really interesting. So let's listen to this track, and then we'll talk about it. pure vibe, pure vibe. That was just so absolutely lovely, lovely to listen to it. Um, Clearly, your handling of like the melody is just fantastic. Like it doesn't sound like you're. I love the just uninhibited approach to being minimalist in parts, which I think is so fast. It's just great. It's just great, man. And here's the best part about it is like I reached out to David. I was like, hey, like I reached out to most of you guys and was like, feel free to send me some thoughts on some of you guys sent me thoughts on like what you learned and like the struggle that's and some details about the mix and stuff like that. David didn't send me anything initially, so I reached out to him to ask if he wanted to share some stuff, and he sent me like this whole PDF document like detailing how he wrote the track. So I feel like this would be interesting for you guys to see this, and we're gonna take a look at it right now because it's pretty awesome. How I made Sprinkle, so good. Okay, my process. This is the preamble here. I see myself as a music architect because I pay great attention to the details and aesthetic of the music. Hell yeah. Okay, building the foundation. I was thinking of producing a vintage soul vibey track for the challenge, so I started playing some of the chords using the classic electric piano, which is a classic for Logic. Always been. Once I found the chord progression that I needed. By the way, the chord progression was great. I feel like you should get into writing some like really lo-fi hip-hop stuff because the chord progression was super vibey. Started designing a drum groove. I usually just beatbox the groove I want, and then I try to reproduce it with the drum kit. For this track, I use the Neo Soul Kit. That's cool with the beatboxing approach. I feel like doesn't Timbaland do the same thing? He always like beatboxes his beats, and then he just he beatboxes like the entire thing, and then he tries to recreate it with various different instruments. Really cool approach. Building the foundation. Isn't this presentation amazing? Finding the main melody. I did a 16-bar loop of the main chords and the drum groove. Then I added foundational instruments like piano, punchy, muted bass. I knew you were using that punchy, muted bass. I knew it because I that's one of my favorite Logic stock instruments. Sounds so good. And upright bass and the piano, Steinway piano. Studio, classic, another classic. I played the loop and started vibing vocally on it. When I felt like I had a great melody, I recorded myself on my iPhone, and I tried to reproduce the melody with the piano. Okay, there you go. Cool approach, right? Like, just singing it. Like there's someone else that has a great quote, but it's like you should just be able to sing. You should be able to sing the melody, and singing it before you write it is actually a really good idea. Designing the skeleton, building the structure. I built each section around the main section I just looped earlier. I don't often produce in order. Sometimes I start with the intro, and sometimes I start with the end. It depends where I feel most inspired in the track. Cool. Adding more vibe and flavor. Okay, so this is what I was really interested in, is like where those like horns like that brass was coming from, and I was like, damn. Logic has really stepped up the game with the stock brass sounds because it sounded so good. Same melody, different instruments. Throughout the track, I played the same melody with different instruments to give it a different feel. Great. I used the Alchemy bells, Steinway Piano Studio to give it a melody sprinkle feel. I used the stunning Logic Pro Studio horns to give it a jazzy vibe. That is something I'm going to dive into as soon as I reinstall Logic on my new computers. I'm going to have to check out those studio horns. Really cool stuff, man. Adding more vibe and flavor. Same chords, different instruments. I love laying out several instruments with the same chords to give a feeling I'm looking for. On this one, I was looking for a yummy feeling with a little sense of paradise. So I went through Logic Pro's Alchemy and Retro Synth interface to find the right fit for my track. Logic Pro has a sweet library of strings. I chose the cello section for this track. Okay, so they've really upped the game. I don't even know what version of Logic I'm using, but it is old, man. Remove the clutter. Space is the key. At the end of producing my producing process, I like to listen to my track critically and delete the things I find too much. I do the exact same thing. I often remove stuff from my track. Almost always I'm removing stuff because I throw too much at the wall. I want the listener to have a clear vision of what I was trying to do. Sometimes removing some instruments throughout the track prevents people from getting bored. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, David. Man, dude, what a presentation. Just so cool. So awesome. You guys are all inspiring as hell. And I am, if there's anything I took away from this challenge, it's that I am stoked to reinstall the latest version of Logic on my Mac Mini M1. Yeah, I'm going to get into it. Because, man, yeah, you guys really set the bar high. Did I forget anyone? Steve, Robert, Nathan, Mike, Mark, David, Dan, Alex, Alexandra, Adam. I think that's it. Thank you so much, guys. You've been a total inspiration to me, and I'm sure to everyone that's watching. What is the verdict here? You don't need all the fancy plugins. You don't need all the fancy contact libraries. Damn, why did I spend all that money? No, I still love my contact. I still love my contact stuff. Although I was going through my list of contact instruments the other day and I was realizing that like I don't use like half of them. So I'm slimming it down when I reinstall everything. And yeah, next live stream you see, I should be fully updated. It's kind of embarrassing that I'm just like, running this ancient Logic here, but whatever, it still runs my libraries at the end of the day. That's all I really needed to do. But yeah, like I said, just like hearing what you guys came up with has got me so pumped. What a challenge. I was going to announce March's challenge on this live stream, but I think I'm going to keep that internal to the Academy for now. And I still have a few little tweaks I want to make to it. But man, this one was a good one. I'm so glad that I threw this out there. And yeah, you guys just killed it. Anyone who's watching who wants to join in the fun, check out the link posted in that chat. It's pinned at the top. Click on the link, for God's sakes. Join the Academy. Join the fun. You guys are missing out. It's just yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just feel really, really blessed to be a part of that community. It's just community building for me, and it's lovely to connect with all you guys. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Any comments, questions, final thoughts? I need to try singing parts and recreating them with the MIDI. Yeah, I sometimes hum melodies before I get into them a little bit, but that is a really cool approach. That is a really cool approach for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I better call it a day. It's been an hour and a half or so. I checked out a few tracks here, and they're all amazing. Awesome. Yeah, right. Including yours, man. Including yours. No, congratulations to you. You guys just absolutely killed it. If anything, I probably wrote like the lamest track of all of you. So I gotta step up. I gotta step up my game. I gotta step up my stock game. Not stock music, but just stock plugins. Cheers, John. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. I really appreciate it. And I got to get on with my workday. I guess I got things to do. And yeah. Thanks so much for being here, guys. I guess I'll press end stream here, although I don't really want to go away because I'm having so much fun. Anyone want to send me any last minute tracks? Maybe I should check to see if anyone sent me anything last minute here. I would regret it if I missed anyone. I got to record tomorrow's podcast with Eric. Got to get ready for that. I think it's going to be more of like a production one. No, I think I got everyone. So yeah, I will see you guys soon. I haven't really been putting much out on YouTube. I think I had to kind of take like a bit of a mental break from YouTube, which is good to do every once in a while. Yeah, next week I got a bunch of content planned for next week. So next week I'll be back in action. But it was good to do this live stream. It's been a little while, and yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well out there. I really do. And I guess that's it. Have a great day, guys. Cheers.